Hi, I'm Dana. Welcome to this week's video. Today I want to talk about daycares. Now maybe you've got your baby sleeping wonderfully and it's time for you to go back to work and now you're really nervous about daycare and what's going to happen there. Or you want to start the program but your baby's going to be in daycare. So what are you going to do about naps? We'll talk about both those scenarios. So let's start with the first one. You've done a great job at teaching your baby some super sleep skills. She's a nap champion, but now you're going back to work and you have to find a daycare. Now, if you've planned ahead, then some tips for when you talk to a daycare: really make sure you understand what is their philosophy around naps, when do naps occur, what is the space in which your baby will be sleeping for naps, even have a tour of where exactly this child will be taking naps and when. And if it doesn't jive with what you believe is the best for your baby, then keep looking, right? I get it. It's really hard to find good daycare in this country or any country. And, sometimes you have to take what you can get. But if you've got the time, then really do shop around and make sure that their policies fit with yours, right? I just spoke to somebody yesterday who's got an 8-month-old baby who's starting daycare and they only do 1 nap a day. Well, we came to the conclusion that that's just not going to work for her 8-month-old. He needs 2 naps a day. We know that any 8-month-old needs 2 naps a day, so it's really not going to work for her. So she's going to go back to the drawing board and try to find a daycare that will accommodate the 2-nap schedule. Because what will happen then is that baby will fall into the 1-nap routine eventually, but it's not going to be enough sleep, so they're going to spend a lot of the day being overtired, which will then impact bedtime and possibly the great night's sleep he's having as well. So definitely shop around. If you found a daycare though and you think, I can make this work, it seems like it's going to be okay, then my best advice is just to let them handle it. Make sure that they know what you are okay with, right? Anytime I took my kids to daycare, I said, her nap time is at 10 o'clock. If she cries, it's fine, right? You can check on her in 10 minutes. If she looks fine, just leave her. And my babysitter did exactly what I asked her to do, but she knew that I was okay with it. No babysitter is going to leave a baby to cry if they don't know you're okay with that, right? So make sure you're really clear about what you've done. And I always told my sitter, listen, they are great sleepers. There might be a little bit of a transition period here while she gets used to this new environment, but they are fantastic sleepers. And if you do what I say, you're guaranteed a 2-hour break every afternoon. And so they did. They did what I said and everything went well and they became good nappers there as well. Now, a lot of daycares though have policies where they simply won't allow a baby to cry for any length of time. And then you have to talk about what are the sort of lesser of the prop evils, so to speak. And the good news is that a lot of babies are really good at separating what's going on at daycare from what's going on at home. So if daycare is going to rock her to sleep through the day and you're not in the night, there's a chance that she'll be okay with that. I don't want to say every baby will, but there's a pretty good chance that she's going to be okay with that. So you might just have to relax, take a deep breath, know that they're doing something that you're not doing at home, but that's okay. And also, one other thing to think about is that naps are not usually as good of quality. And that's just because there's lots of environmental noise. It's probably pretty bright in there. There's other kids crying or running around. And so it's not going to be as long. But as long as it's close, right, it's most likely as good as it's going to get. Another piece of good news is that babies often do pretty well at daycare. Once they've fallen into the swing of it, there's not a lot of upset on their part because they don't really know, I'm going to do what the daycare person says I'm supposed to do because I don't know her very well yet. And so they tend to behave better, sleep better, eat better than they do for you. So there's some good news in that. Now, same thing if you're going to start the program and you've got daycare. I always suggest people start on a Friday night, so at least you've got the weekend, or if you've got a holiday coming up, do it then so you've got at least a few days under your belt before you get to daycare. Again, explain to daycare what you've been doing, what the schedule is going to look like, that you're okay with her doing it your way, and see if they'll comply. If they won't, then they won't, right? There's not a lot you can do about that unless you're gonna quit that one and find another one. But, you know, I hope that gives you a little bit of guidance. I know it's tricky, and sometimes you have to, you know, put your foot down, right? I can remember with my daughter, they kept giving her an afternoon nap, which then kept her up till 10 o'clock at night, and I had to put my foot down. Say, you may not give her a nap. End of discussion. So remember that ultimately you are the boss in the relationship, and you'll have to have a stern talk with them at least once. Thanks for watching today. Sleep well.